Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to episode number 72 of the Houston Astros franchise here on MLB The Show 20. Today we have our last two series before we reach the All-Star break. They're both at home, starting with this one against the Cleveland Indians. We have a 4-game set here to start off the episode. Here is a look at both lineups. Astros lineup, you can see Indians, most of who you know, Franmil Reyes, Domingo Santana, Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor. They do have new first baseman Dominique Smith, who they recently acquired from the Mets. Former National Wilmer Difo at second base, and then Roberto Perez is behind the plate. On the mound for the Astros is Josh James, sitting at a 6.08 ERA. His future has kind of come into question recently, so he needs a strong outing. If you're excited for this one, though, make sure you leave a like and subscribe down below, especially for more franchise content, as Jose Ramirez starts the day off with a solo shot for Cleveland. And right on cue, talking about Josh James' future, he gives up a solo shot to Ramirez. Josh James is a very talented pitcher. However, he's had really big issues with his command, especially recently in the past couple of seasons. And it's on display there, as that's a solo shot to start the day off for Cleveland. Well, the next batter, Oscar Mercado, is going to hit this one deep to left field. However, this one will be contained in the ballpark, so it's allowed first out. Here comes Francisco Lindor, 0-1 to him, and he chops this one, and it's going to get knocked down by Bregman, but it will be a base hit. Good attempt, though, by Bregman. On our first one out, Franmil Reyes up next. He strikes out on the changeup away for out number 2. And that's going to bring up Domingo Santana, 1-2 to him. He strikes out on the slider, so back-to-back strikeouts for James, 2 in the top of the first. Shane Bieber is going to take the mound for Cleveland. He's had a pretty solid season so far, 3.49 ERA, 123 strikeouts, averaging about 1 an inning. Whip also sits at about a 1. Michael Brantley is going to start off for the Astros. He gets a slider on a 1-0, hits it deep to left field. However, it will be in front of the wall. Tyler Naquin can put that one away for out number 1. Alex Bregman up next, 1-1 to Bregman. He chops this one to the left side of the infield, and it's going to be out number 2 to start off Astros Day. Jose Altuve hitting 3 today. He gets a first pitch changeup, hits this one deep to left field. It's at the wall, but it is caught in front of the scoreboard. Let's go top 2 now. Tyler Naquin leading off for Cleveland. He grounds this one to the left side of the infield. Bregman will field it, and the throw will be offline as Bell has to come off the base. That is an E5, so the leadoff hitter is on board. Smith up next, and after the first pitch, Josh James has to come out of the game. He's feeling some sharp pain in his hip, which means Jose Urania will have to come in emergency relief. 6.59 ERA for Urania, as he will be called on with a cold arm and inherits a runner on base. Dominique Smith, though, the very next pitch, Urania gets 2 outs on his first pitch of the day. And then that brings up the next batter, Wilmer Difo. He's also first pitch swinging, fouls up in the territory, and Urania gets 3 outs on 2 pitches. That's not a bad ratio at all. How about the bottom of the second now? Alvarez leading off. He draws a walk, looks at a high fastball. So that's a leadoff man now on board for Houston. Bell up next, and he's going to take the first pitch through the right side of the infield for a base hit. And the Astros start off the bottom of the second with 2 runners on. George Springer's up next, full count to Springer. He turns on a curveball, hits it deep to center. It will be caught, but Alvarez will tag and go to third. Throw is not in time, so he beats it. Putting runners on the corners now, 1 away. And that's going to be Carlos Correa up to the dish. There's also an E6. I don't know where that year E6 came from, but nonetheless, Correa does strike out in the next at bat. So now 2 outs, runners on the corners is Avisail Garcia. First pitch swinging, slaps it up the middle for a base hit. Alvarez does come around and score. Bell does get to third base. That's the first run of the day for the Astros. Garcia, he's been very clutch with runners in scoring position. Been one of our best hitters in that regards. Stubbs is up next. He draws the walk with a slider going away. So now it's bases loaded for the top of the order. Brantley first pitch swinging. He hits it deep to the scoreboard again, but it's caught again, and the Astros lead the bases loaded. Well, bottom 3 now. Bregman's going to lead us off, and that one's not going to get short of the scoreboard. Absolutely launched into left field. That one is gone. A solo shot for Alex Bregman. His 25th home run of the season. And the Astros go out now on top, 352 down the line. And that's the danger of this Astros order. Bregman having a phenomenal 2021 to say the least. He's going to bring up Jose Altuve, and on first pitch, he's going to drop a bunt down. Tries to charge and throw him out, but he does beat the throw. Altuve's elite bunting skills get him on base again. Next up is Alvarez, 1-1, punches it up the middle for a base hit. Still nobody out here in the bottom of the third, as Astros now have 2 on base. And that brings up Josh Bell, 1-2 to Bell, and he turns on a slider perfectly timed to right field. That one is gone as well into the second deck. 3-run shot for Josh Bell. His 23rd of the season, goes 417 feet. And the Astros have blown this one open as they now have a 4-run lead here in the bottom half of the third. Inning is also still not over as there's still nobody out. Springer, though, will take a look at a questionable strike 3 for the first out. Correa up next, 1-1. He's going to slap it to the right side of the infield. It's fielded and thrown out by Defoe. That's quick 2 outs. Avisail Garcia up next, 1-0 to him. He chops it up the middle, and it's not going to get through. Lindor with a nice play records out number 3. Well, we go top 4 now, starting off with Lindor, and he punches it through the infield again for another single. And Cleveland now has a runner on base to start the 4th inning. Taking a look at their hits leaders, Lindor is second behind Jose Ramirez. Reyes up next, though, 0-2 count, chops it 4-6-3. That'll be 2 outs. And Urania continues to keep the ball on the ground. How about Domingo Santana now? Full counts. And speaking of hitting the ball on the ground, I might have jinxed Urania as he gives up a solo shot here in the top of the 4th. Ball absolutely blasted off the railroad tracks, 415 feet for Santana, his 16th home run of the season. That one got out of here in a hurry. 106 miles per hour off the bat. Tyler Naquin up next, 0-2 to him. He looks at strike 3 on a curveball. Nice pitch by Urania. And at least Cleveland gets 1. Top of the 5th, though, Alvarez says, I'll get that run right back. 0-2 slider up in the zone is absolutely mammoth out to right field. That ball is gone. Another home run on the day for the Astros. That's Alvarez's first of the day. 18th of the season. Goes 399. And he gets the run right back for Houston, as it's now a 6-2 lead for the Astros. Next up is Josh Bell, 3-1 to Bell. And he turns on another pitch to right field. That ball is gone. Hooks around the foul pole. His second of the day. Back-to-back jacks for Houston. 24th of the season, goes 447 feet. Do you think Josh Bell has been a good addition for the Astros? I think his play speaks for itself. Josh Bell, another home run here today. That'll also do it for Shane Bieber. Carlos Carrasco will come out in relief. 4.22 ERA through 29 appearances for him as he looks to stop the bleeding. Springer's up next, though, and he's going to draw a walk. No questionable strike that time. So still nobody out and a runner on first now. Correa up next. He's going to slap this one down the line. It's going away from the right fielder. Gets up against the wall. That's 2 bases for Correa. And now we got 2 runners on scoring position with nobody out. Avisail Garcia up next. He chops it to the shortstop, Lindor. He's thrown out, but he does drive home the run. That's run number 8 for Houston. And then the next batter, Stubbs, 2-1. He chops it to the first baseman, and that'll be another run for Houston, 9-2, thanks to a couple of sacrifice groundouts. Michael Brantley's up next, full count, gets on this one, but elevates it a little too much as it stays in the ballpark, but does get it around to the wall, out to the 404 marker. That's a 2-out double for Brantley. Bragg up next, full count, chops it to Lindor. He will end the inning, but Houston has drawn to a 9-2 lead. This one's turned into a blowout. We're going to go into the bottom of the 6th. We're just going to get our 10th run. Alvarez destroys this one out to right. Turns on the high fastball, 455. His 19th of the season. He also has a 2-run day. And Astros now take a 10-2 lead. They're just launching balls out here in Houston. Next, that's going to bring in Anthony Gose, who has a 5.51 ERA. He'll start off his day against Josh Bell. Hitting from the right side now, and it doesn't seem to matter as he takes this one over the wall and left for a home run. Back-to-back jacks again. Bell's third home run of the day. It goes 376, 25th on the season. That ties him now with Bregman on the team with 25. How about George Springer up next now? He turns on the first pitch. It's hit deep to left center. No way this one gets out of here. It does. Back-to-back jacks for the Astros. The train keep on moving. And Springer has his 10th of the season. A solo shot as well, 349. About in the same area that Bell hit his. And Houston, forget rockets launching out of Houston. Baseballs flying out of the park left and right. This is such a scary lineup. How about Bregman now in the bottom of the 7th? His turn to go 2 for the day. Cutter sent to left field on the train tracks. His second solo shot of the day, 26 of the season. He didn't want to be tied with Bell with 25, so he went ahead and hit his 26th. We got a route going in Cleveland. The fans loving it here. As now we go top 8. Lindor, however, does get a run back for Cleveland as it makes it 13-3. But that'll be all they get. As Bell now in the bottom of the 7th. Going to go back an inning. No way, he hits 4. No, you're right, he doesn't hit 4. Barely misses the 4th one. How about go back to the 8th inning, though? They're going to get another run as Cleveland hits this one into left field. As they make it 13-4. And how about we go bottom 8 now? Brantley going to hit this one in the gap in right center. Runner on first is going to come all the way around and score. Houston gets 14 runs. And they're not done. Jose Altuve up next. 1-0 count. Slaps it down the line. That's going to be run number 15. Bregman's on first. He's going to try to come around and score. Throw at the plate is in time. So Houston doesn't get run number 16. However, they do win this game 15-4. What a game for the Astros bats. Urani also did a very good job, I think, pitching in relief, especially with the cold arm. He is rewarded with the win, while the loss will go to Shane Bieber. Just an absolute dominant performance for Houston, showing why they are the best team in the American League currently. 21 hits for them across everybody. Player of the game, there's a lot of people who hit multi-home run games, but Bell, he hit 3 going 4 for 5. It has to be him. The Astros in total launched 8 home runs in this game. While Cleveland did launch 2, it was not enough in this one. Take a look at Josh James' injury. He will be out for a week or 2 with an inflamed hip, so he will head to the 10-day IL. And now we have to call up a starting pitcher, and the obvious choice would be Forrest Whitley, our top prospect one of the top prospects in baseball. However, he hasn't done the best in AAA, and I don't want to rush him. So instead, we're going to turn to Francis Martes. The former Dominican Republic signing from Miami has Major League experience, and he's pitched a lot better in AAA. He was traded to Houston in 2015, didn't make his debut till 2017, so we're going to give him a shot to fill out the rotation. We do need to DFA somebody, so we are going to DFA Joe Biagini. We saw him slightly last year. He played terrible with a 23 ERA. So he will be DFA'd. We still have to figure out, do we want to release him? Do we want to put him on waivers? But we have a couple days for that. So Francis Marte, he's added to the 40-man. He is put on the Major League squad, and we'll see him shortly. And you want to say baseball is a funny game? Well, after scoring 15 runs, we are blanked 3-0. Only 4 hits in this one. It's funny how that works day to day. Clevenger, 8 2/3, and he doesn't give up a single earned run. Game 3, however, we do win against Cleveland. However, we get our first trade offer as the Cubs want Lance McCullers, and they're offering 2 pitching prospects. Braylon Marquez is a very good prospect as well. He's a good lefty who's got a very bright future, one of the best in the Chicago organization. And Alex Mills is a reliever who could make it to the bullpen, although he isn't having the best 2021. It's a very intriguing offer, especially since McCullers hasn't played that good, but we are in the midst of playoff push, so I don't really want to trade veterans for prospects right now. So we're going to politely decline their trade. Back to that 6-4 game, we win 6-4. Both teams had 10 hits. Mercado had a home run. Smith had 2 RBIs for Cleveland. While for us, it was Bregman going yard again, and Correa had 3 RBIs as well. The win will go to Rogelio Armenteros, despite him not having the best of games. Other words, in the MLB, lots of trades going down, a lot of prospects, however, so I'm not really going to highlight any of these trades in particular, but you can see them on your screen right there. And then in Game 4, we split the series as we lose 5-3 to Cleveland, so they stay at 500, as it was Reyes doing damage in this one, as well as Defoe, Naquin, and Ramirez. While for us, Miles Straw had 2 RBIs on a double, and Bell had a RBI as well. Kluber doesn't get the decision, neither does Urania, as he got a spot start. Another trade in baseball is Brian Anderson is traded in the division to Washington. Washington leads the NL East, and they're gearing up for a playoff push of their own. So they acquire Brian Anderson, who's having arguably one of his best seasons. They do depart with Jackson Rutledge, a nice pitching prospect, as the Marlins continue to try to beef up their minor league system, as well as corner infielder Drew Mendoza, who got a little bit of action last year with Washington and played very well. Hasn't really done the same this year, however. Now for the second half of the episode, we're going to play host to the Rockies for a 2-game set, and we're going to see Francis Martes. I purposely held off on his debut because I wanted to see him in this one. I wanted us to see how he does. So he's going to get the start for the beginning of this 2-game set against Colorado. You see him taking the mound. 6'1", 225, 25 years old. Remember we said he was out of the Dominican Republic. Had briefly pitched in the majors back in 2017, but that was 4 years ago. So we'll see how much he has improved in the minors since then. He'll start off his day against, for the Rockies, this is going to be Raimel Tapia, as Colorado does have a very good lineup. We'll take a look at it just momentarily. But Tapia on the very first batter is going to line out to left field, and here is that aforementioned Colorado squad. Tapia followed by Cesar Hernandez. Then we get to the big hitters. Nolan Arenado, Charlie Blackmon, David Dahl, and Trevor Story. They do have a DH today, so it's going to be Anthony Santander, Ryan McMahon at first, and Dom Nunez behind the plate. Cesar Hernandez is up next, and he's going to hit this one to Bregman at third base, who is playing a bunt, and that'll be out number 2. Here is Nolan Arenado, full count to him, and he chops it as well to Bregman for the third out, so Martes gets to the first spotless. On the mound for Colorado will be the left-hander Mike Montgomery, who's got a 4.09 ERA, as the former Kansas City Royal gets the start here in Houston. Jose Altuve is your leadoff man today. He strikes out on that sinker. Expect to see that a lot from Mike Montgomery today. Bregman is still hitting in the 2-hole, and the very first pitch to him, he grounds to the left side of the infield. He is thrown out for the second out of the inning. We'll take a look at Houston's lineup now in this one. Already seen it's a little different. We saw Altuve and Bregman. Then we'll see Alvarez, Bell, Correa, Canna getting the start in center today. Garcia's in left, and Josh Reddick is in right. Haven't seen a lot of Josh Reddick recently, despite the fact that he is hitting .272 on the season. Here is Yordan Alvarez, full count to him, and he looks at a ball 4, it looks like. I thought maybe that would have been strike 3, but he didn't get it. Nonetheless, Bell is up next, and he's going to ground this one to McMahon at first. Good bat down. Montgomery with the cover at first. Both teams are scoreless through 1. Bottom 2 now, Carlos Correa leads off for Houston. He lines this one to Charlie Blackmon at right for out number 1. Canna is up next, 1-0 to him. And he turns on a hanging curveball. That one, no doubt about it. It's like a meatball for Canna as he sends that one deep. His 17th home run of the season. And you got to keep in mind, Canna doesn't play every day. So the fact that he has 17 home runs is incredible. And that's part of the reason why we just have such a logjam in the outfield. It's hard to get all the outfielders in every single day. Garcia's up next on this very first pitch. He grounds it to the second baseman, who will throw him out at first for out number 2. And then here is Josh Reddick. 1-2 to him, and he's going to single through the right side of the infield. So Reddick gets on base with 2 outs. Another outfielder you got to somehow find bats for. Garrett Stubbs, however, will strike out on the curveball, but the Astros do get one here in the bottom of the second. And we'll go top 3 now with Santander, who's playing for the rare DH spot for the Rockies. See if they can take advantage of that. Martes 2-2, and he's going to get him the chop up the middle. Bregman does field it, who is playing the shift, and he throws him out at first. Nice play by Bregman to record that out. McMahon up next, 0-1, and he's going to get through the shift. He attacks it in full. Altuve's dive can't stop that one, and the Colorado Rockies have a 1-out single. Dom Nunez up next. He gets underneath this one a little bit, hits it out to center. Canna actually has to go back even more for it, but he does record out number 2. That'll take us to the top of the order. Raimel Tapia, he's going to pop out to left field now, and Martes is through 3 scoreless innings for Houston. Can he keep it going in the top of the 4th? Cesar Hernandez, that's a grounder to Bell for out number 1. That'll bring up Nolan Arenado. 2-1 to Arenado. He chops it in front of Stubbs, the catcher. He fields it, throws it at first, and Martes has 2 outs now in the top of the 4th. Charlie Blackmon now up next. Full count to him. He looks at ball 4, thought about swinging at it, but he will take his base. David Dahl up next. He will take his base as well. Change up low, and Martes now has walked back-to-back batters. Trevor Story up next, and he lines this one into right center. That'll make Martes pay. 1 run will come around. The 2nd run, Blackmon will come around as well. Excuse me, that was David Dahl who is on first. And now Colorado takes the lead thanks to the 2 RBI double by Story. Anthony Santander up next, 1-2. He grounds out to Altuve. But the Rockies do take the lead here in the top of the 4th. Can they respond in the bottom? As Josh Bell saw the day he had against Cleveland. He takes a 2-2 out to right where Blackmon tracks it down. Now Correa up next, 1-1 to him. He tries to punch it through the infield. He can't. That sinker ball, keeping it on the ground for a ground out. Next up is Canna. We saw him hit that solo shot in his first at bat, and he's going to hit this one down the left field line. That's going to get up against the wall in the corner. Canna trying to turn 2, and he does. 2-out double for Mark Canna, his 13th double of the season. Gives the Astros a chance here. And then Garcia again, 1-2 with the runner in scoring position, lines to right field. Canna comes around and scores. We're tied up at 2. Garcia continues to hit well with runners in scoring position. Reddick on the first pitch, he will line out to the left fielder. But we are tied at 2 after 4. How about bottom 5? Stubbs leads off. He gets a hanging curve and puts it into right. Good piece of hitting by Stubbs. Leadoff man on as we turn to the top of the order. Jose Altuve up next. He's first pitch swinging as well, and he hits this one to left field. So back-to-back singles now for Houston. And once again, they are threatening with runs. Bregman, though, 1-2, chops it 5-4-3 around the horn. That's going to sting. Stubbs does get to third base, but now there's 2 outs for Alvarez. First pitch swinging, puts it into right field for a base hit. That one's going to get up against the wall. Alvarez goes to second, and he has a 2-out RBI double. That gives Houston the lead as he continues his clutch hitting as well. That means Bell's up next, 2-1. That's lined right at Blackmon. But Houston has the lead now through 5. We're going to go bottom 7 now where Kyle Freeland comes on for Colorado. They're trying to keep with the lefty pitcher. Stubbs up first, 2-2 to him. Slaps it through the left side of the infield. That's another base hit for Stubbs. And another leadoff batter for Houston. Altuve up next, 0-1 to him. He turns on a fastball, hits it deep to left field. Short of the wall, however. And Stubbs will stay at first base. Alex Bregman up next, 1-1 to him. He turns on a fastball. That one's going in the gap, however, up against the left field wall. Stubbs has some wheels for a catcher. He's going to go to third. Thought about going home, actually backtracks and gets thrown out. So despite the double by Bregman, a crucial base running mistake. Alvarez up next and on very first pitch, hits it to the same spot he did last time and will drive in another run. Would have been 2 if Stubbs wasn't thrown out. But Houston now has a 4-2 lead, and Alvarez is trying to think 3, and he gets it. An RBI triple for Alvarez. That's only his 3rd triple of the season. Gives Astro a 2-run lead. Bell's up next. He gets Goodwood on this one. Hits it to the center fielder, Tapia, though. But Houston has a 4-2 lead. Brad Hand comes in the top of the 8th. However, he would stay in till the 9th. And we're actually going to jump straight ahead to the 9th inning as Rockies are down to their final frame. They do, however, have 3, 4, 5 coming up, and number 3 is Arenado, and he solos it out to left field, gets one of those runs back, makes this one a ball game, his 22 home run of the season, 343 feet down the line, and Houston is a little shaky. Colorado trying to make a game out of it. Can Hand hold them off? Bregman is up next in the 4 spot. He's going to ground into the shift for out number 1. However, David Dahl is up next. 2-1 to Dahl. He grounds out. Bell gets nice glove on this one. He has out number 2. So back-to-back outs for Colorado gets them down to their final out. It is Trevor Story, who is 2 for 3 on the day. And the right-handed batter, Houston's going to turn to the right-handed pitcher. Presley is called upon to get the final out of this ball game. 1-0 to Story, and he lines it into the gap. That one's going all the way up against the wall. Story turns first, gets into second with ease, and now the tying run is only 2 bases ahead. So it's up to Anthony Santander. 1-0 count, hits it deep to right center. Canada, though, gets underneath it, records the final out, and Houston wins this one by a score of 4-3. They take game 1 of the 2-game set and continue their winning ways heading into the All-Star break. Francis Martes also gets the win in his first start of the season. You'll love to see that for him. Montgomery gets the loss. Presley does get save number 14, as the platoon save spot seems like it's kind of working out here in the middle of the season. Canada is your player of the game with that 3-for-4 solo shot. He was a triple out of the cycle. And just a good all-around day by Houston. They squeak out a win. Do got another trade in the major leagues as the Mariners trade Carl Edwards Jr. to Boston for a prospect. Edwards Jr. hasn't really been that great since coming over from Chicago, so Boston is hoping he can capture that form. Still only 29, so he does have a couple years to grow. They do give up a outfield prospect in Connor Scott, who is more of a defensive outfielder, but a nice lefty bat nonetheless. In the second game, we do lose 8-5 to Colorado. They had a 4 spot in the 4th, and we blow this one a little later. And it was on the mound. It was our Kitty and Peacock who struggled as well. Right before the All-Star break, we have another couple of trades. The big one, though, is the Indians. They actually trade Franmil Reyes to Washington, as the Indians can't tell if they're buying or selling, as it looks like now they are selling. Reyes has had a phenomenal season for Cleveland, still young at only 25. That's a very big bat for Washington to obtain. They give up prospect Seth Romero, a pitcher, a left-handed pitcher out of Texas, as well as Israel Pineda, a 20-year-old catcher prospect. So I think Washington won that trade. Lastly, right before the All-Star break, we have 3 more trades to cover. Not going to cover all 3, however, I am going to cover the big one, and that is Mike Clevenger. A day after trading Franmil Reyes, the Indians have traded Mike Clevenger, one of the top pitchers in baseball, to Tampa Bay. And they now have a very deadly 1-2 punch. Blake Snell, Mike Clevenger. Cleveland, how do they try to counteract the bats of Yankees and the Red Sox? They try to get dominant pitching. Key player in the trade is Ke'Bryan Hayes, a top third base young player. He came over to Boston in the Jameson Taillon trade a season ago. So he was part of the deal that's sent to Cleveland, as well as pitcher Nick Nelson and left fielder Moises Gomez. So a lot of teams making moves as we head to the All-Star break. Next week, we're going to have 3 episodes, and we'll cover all of the All-Star break, starting off with the Home Run Derby. We'll have to see how exciting that one is. We haven't done a Home Run Derby here on the channel, so it'll be interesting. I'll have to figure out how I want to chop that one up. But that's going to do it for me in this one, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.